Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Spielberg, the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix of HRL Season 1. This is of course the 6th round of HRL in its history, and at my least favourite track and possibly weakest track on the calendar. Although we are purple currently and well up on our PB and banker indeed, which is a pretty average time. At the moment on provisional pole is Pure Contrast. He outqualified me on Tuesday in TNR as well, before we had a bit of a calamity together, and following that a difference of opinion that hopefully won't affect any of our league racing in the future. The lap time he set I've never beaten, and turns out even though we're purple at this stage we don't quite beat it this lap either, although this does become our new PB at Austria. Around the final two corners I think this is probably where I lost it. Not quite as confident through here as some people. Either way, across the line we come now, a bit late on the DRS as well actually, and it's P2. So alongside Pure Contrast, he grabs pole position for the first time I believe this season, and indeed it is very close between the top four, less than a tenth separating all four drivers on the first two rows of the grid. That's met up by Dynamite and Harry Ryan behind us. Of course, Prying Stingray, the usual Ferrari number one driver, not here, so I might be able to take the championship lead back or have a successful race here. Bit of wheel spin for Contrast in his Toro Rosso. Gonna have to be careful here not to make contact like we did, even though it was a laggy situation on Tuesday, and we've avoided it this time. He's still on our outside. We almost had an overlap there. Looks like he got a better run though. The Ferraris are menacing behind. Pure Contrast covers the inside. Oh, there was a bit of contact from, I think that's Harry Ryan. You can see the front wing of his Ferrari there. We just about all got away with it though, and we should maintain roughly the order we started in, although Harry Ryan has eclipsed his teammate of Dynamite for this particular race. And that would be the opening stanza. We moved on. This is the only part of the track I seem to be really a lot quicker than Contrast. I could go a lot deeper under brakes there, but if I did I might have risked hitting the back of him, which is not what we're after. We want to keep all of that front wing for this race. The front two, we got away. Lap 9, quite a big gap back to P3, which at the time was Apollo in his Force India. And this was fine for me as Dynamite retires. I was quite happy to sit behind Contrast. He's not a championship threat. Made that little mistake there, and that would be the last time I got DRS in this stint. He seemed a bit stronger towards the end of the stint, so he might have had better tyre wear, and we pitted before him. A couple of cars behind had pitted, and Apollo undercuts me quite severely. That was annoying because he has a bit of lag, which we know from Canada took me out of the race completely. And here's the other Force India, Sam. I don't think he realised I was there until very late. He got out of the way. Thanks for that commitment to the blue flags. Moving on, Contrast had made his pit stop also onto the softs, so intending to go to the end. Apollo had passed him, and now we were passing the remaining cars who started on softs, being Wimp and V-Fingers in this last clip. Contrast ran second at the time. Apollo needed to pit though. Harry Ryan retires. He's obviously one of the championship contenders, so that's very positive for me. Bad luck for him.
Full course caution. The safety car is out.
And that would change things. That brought some cars back into the race, such as Apollo. I chose to pit for the Ultras. That dropped me back to P4, and Wimp had stayed out. He was now P2 behind the other Toro Rosso, also staying out Pure Contrast. Behind, on fresh Ultras, also was V-Fingers. This promised to be very exciting. Not really what we wanted for the championship, I just wanted a simple race to a podium. And as you can see, all kinds of battling happening in front of me. Really don't want to stay behind the Force India in case lag happens once again like it did in Canada. I offset myself instantly as soon as I can, and back off even. Almost cost me a position to V-Fingers, but he gets a bit balked as well. So around the outside we maintain P4, hoping to get onto the podium here. We know Apollo had a penalty at this point. He was in party chat with us, and it was difficult to know what to do. He was obviously on super softs, which we should be quicker than, and the two cars in front on old tyres, one of them being on softs. Apollo going for another move here for P2 on Wimp. Gets it a bit wrong, some contact, really hoping to avoid it, and I just about get out of the way. V-Fingers gets a great run though, because he didn't have to avoid it quite as badly. So I'm going to have to defend into turn 1, although it doesn't seem quite close enough. And as you can see, the entire track, for me at least, is under yellow flag conditions, so no passing is allowed anyway. This was a glitch because I think Harry left being the host during the safety car period. You saw a bit of damage there. I think that might have been V-Fingers losing his front wing.
The safety car has been deployed.
That was confirmed by the fact he pitted under this next safety car, which there didn't seem to be much reason for, unless it was his wing which came off in that clip. And now we come up to the restart. Pure slowing everyone down, possibly a bit too much, but I don't think it was illegal. Wimp getting not the greatest exit. We're very close to him. He goes defensive. Possibly not the greatest thing for me. I just wanted to stay in P3 and not be threatened from behind by Tortoise, who we know is a very aggressive driver from last week. And he pushes us wide, we get a warning for it. Thankfully that would be our last warning and we'd be penalty free for this race. Unfortunately though, we've lost contact with the two Toro Rossos, and Grunting Tortoise is down the inside, and he's forced us wide and allowed two cars to come through almost, although then he loses traction and almost takes us all out. Back to P5 with some damage, so really not ideal at all. We're looking to make progress, and instead we've gone backwards. William here, I wondered why he was letting me through.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
Turns out he had been disqualified with 1 lap to go. How unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. Does give us a position though, for free. As you can see there down the bottom, he was disqualified. Coming around the last couple of corners, we're just trying to stay within 3 seconds of Apollo to grab that podium position for 3rd. Didn't think either of the two guys up front would have a penalty, but if they did, I might have shuffled up any further. Across the line we come, Apollo puts it in the wall, and indeed we take 3rd position for 15 points, unanswered by our two rivals. In the background here, you can see a massive torpedo-like connection with the barriers for V-Fingers. So there we are, P3. Congratulations to Contrast on his first HRL win. I've been Jacko. See you in Silverstone.